So yesterday I was having trouble with my SD card on one of the GoPros that I was using. It's the main GoPro, this one where I'm talking to. And all of a sudden, when I get to Lincoln, the SD card just craps out. It just says SD card error, so I wasn't able to use it. So luckily I had, backups or backup SD cards, so I switched it out. And when I checked this morning for the SD card that was giving me an error, nothing was on there. So basically all the footage that I recorded up until Lincoln was just all gone. So it really sucks, but at least I got the Lincoln footage, so that was fine. But I lost all the footage where I was talking about Lincoln County and Billy the Kid and some other things I probably forgot. But I'm going to try to remember what I talked about so I can lead up to this Lincoln County video. So lately, I've been really obsessed with Billy the Kid. It started when my friend Henry told me about him and how Las Cruces has some sites where you could see some Billy the Kid sites. And then he also mentioned that Young Guns is based on Billy the Kid's story. And I just was so fascinated by that because my mom is actually really in love with the Young Guns movie. Anything Old West, Western movies, she absolutely loves. Actually, both my parents, but my mom especially. I remember her loving them because she would watch any show or movie that she loved, she would watch on repeat over and over. So I remember Young Guns was one of them, and she would just watch it multiple times. So I've seen some of it, but I never knew the basis of the story. I never followed it. I never watched the whole movie. I only seen like bits and pieces of it. So when I learned that Young Guns was based on Billy the Kid, me and Candy watched it together. We watched both of them. We watched Young Guns 1, and then we were, really interested in watching Young Guns 2 to see the continuation of Billy the Kid's story. So that gave me more of Billy the Kid's story, but I still wanted to learn more because, I don't know, I think the movie, a lot of the facts are true, but there are some that are inconsistent or, doesn't match what truly happened. So I started listening to a podcast about it. There was like a series where they talked about Billy the Kid's history and how he became a folklore hero. And from there, I was hooked, and I was just all about Billy the Kid. So as I mentioned, in Las Cruces, where I stopped by, there are a couple of sites that's based on Billy the Kid. If you go to Mesilla, it's a little town plaza, and they have a restaurant and a gift shop. And both of those places are where Billy the Kid stopped by. The restaurant, I think they just said that he ate there and then he was captured there perhaps, and then taken to the jail across the street, which is now the gift shop. And that was built in the 1850s. So all of this, like the Lincoln County War and the time where he was well known, was around the 1850s to the 1880s. But Billy the Kid was very young. When he was with the regulators, he was probably only like 17, 18. By the time he was killed, he was only 21 years old. So before you go to Lincoln, there is this visitor center that you can go to. It's called Billy the Kid Scenic Byway Visitor Center. It's such a mouthful. But from Las Cruces, it's 2 hours away. So I'm driving in January, and I didn't realize that Lincoln County was up in the hills, up in the mountains, because it was at 7,000 feet of elevation. And when I was driving to the visitor center, I noticed snow on the roads to the side. It wasn't on the roads, really. There was some maybe like dust or salt, but the roads were pretty clear. But I did notice snow to the sides of the road and like on some cars. And I was like, thank goodness it wasn't snowing, because I was not prepared for that. So that's just to keep a note that it is at a higher elevation. And so I stopped by the visitor center, and I wanted to use the restroom there, but apparently their restrooms have been closed for over a year, their public restrooms, because they don't have help to help sanitize it. So I just checked it out real quick. It's very small, but you kind of get an overview of what the Scenic Byway is. So it's 80 miles of scenic views and sites that you can check out, and a lot of, one of them is Lincoln County. So you'll get some information on Billy the Kid and Lincoln County in general and some other things. And I also took a picture with Kuma with this Billy the Kid cutout in front of the visitor center. But if you want to use the restroom, there is a Walmart down the road about a mile away. So I just used that restroom and that worked out fine. And so once I got to Lincoln County, which is about 30 minutes away from the visitor center, I stopped by the Lincoln County Visitor Center / museum. It's $7 to go inside the museums, and I'm glad I paid that because the first museum was okay. It gives you like a general overview of Lincoln County and Billy the Kid, of course. But I already kind of knew all that, so I kind of just browsed around a bit, took some pictures, and I moved on to the rest of the area, which is really cool. It was so neat to kind of walk in Billy the Kid's footsteps and see where all these sites were after learning all about it. Okay, so I did a little bit of walking around with Kuma. And I was going to record on the GoPro, but of course my SD card craps out and I get an SD card error, so I just kind of walked down a little bit, took some pictures, and now I'm going to drive and kind of stop by maybe the halfway point and take some video and show you this historic site. So it is very walkable. It's only a quarter of a mile, so you can do it really easily. But a lot of the people, what I've been seeing is they've just been stopping on the side of the road and then taking pictures and then moving on. Interesting thing is, like, some of these properties are privately owned, so people actually live here. So this is the Torion, one of Lincoln's earliest structures. It was built in the 1850s, and the thick vault protected the Spanish Americans in the Lincoln County War. Okay, so right here is La Placita gift shop, and it's closed. So a lot of these places are closed. I'm not sure if it's because of the pandemic or if they're just taking a break. Or I saw one of the museums, the Tunstall store, which I would have loved to go in there, but that is being reconstructed. I saw a lot of construction going on inside, so maybe they're like kind of restoring the area and doing something with it. Okay, I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna stop here and kind of walk out because this is the Tunstall Store Museum, and I thought it was really interesting. All right, so this is the Tunstall Store Museum, but it is closed, so I cannot go in. There is a U.S. post office right next to it, and it's for real. Like, I just saw a lady pick up some mail there. Very tiny and very cute. This is the store started by J.H. Tunstall and McSween, the lawyer, in 1877. It was the focal point in the Lincoln County War, in which both partners were slain. And then right across the street, that's the Dolan house. Again, that is closed. And that old home was built in 1888 by J.J. Dolan, who took part in the Lincoln County War. I just parked on the side right there. There's like really no other cars here. And the few other cars that I've seen are owned by people that live here. This is the site of the McSween home where that famous 5-day Lincoln County War happened. And this is where Billy the Kid was involved, and him and the regulators were here somewhere. There was a house, and it got burnt down in the war. It's the site of the McSween home, opening a law office in Lincoln, 1875. Alec McSween rebuilt an old adobe into a 10-room house. Wow, that's huge. And then on July 19th, 1878, Pepin's posse fired it to oust inmates. This is where it happened. Of course, it doesn't exist because it burnt down. Next to it here, this is Fresca's house. It's a butcher shop, or it was a butcher shop, 1880 to 1892. Oh, next to this is the state offices, so people working in there, but let's see what this says. This is the Thomas W. Watson House. Portions of this building were constructed in the 1880s. It served as Dr. Watson's residence and drugstore from 1903 to 1920. And then over there is a little nature trail. Actually, they have a couple of nature trails, one by the visitor center. There's another one here. Looks pretty nice. And that's a brewery over there, but it's closed. And then over here is Dr. Wood's Annex. Built 1886, site of Lincoln Independent newspaper, winery, soap factory, movie theater, and boarding house. So yeah, Kuma was walking around with me and taking pictures, and she's already tired. So I'm gonna go down a little bit more and then check out the, let's see, the historic Lincoln County Courthouse, because that was That was originally constructed in 1874. That was the general store and headquarters for L.G. Murphy, and that was the enemy of Tunstall and the Regulators. So it should just be right down the road here. Oh, this is it. This is the old Lincoln County Courthouse. All right. This is the Wortley Hotel dining room, site of old Wortley Hotel. Here, Robert M. Ollinger at table noon, April 28, 1881, heard shooting from courthouse, rushed to his death at hands of William H. Bonney. It's a nice house. This is a cute little cafe, coffee shop. Coffee bar and local art. And that across the street is the old Lincoln County House, also Murphy's General Store or headquarters. Well, that was pretty neat. I really enjoyed going through that little town and kind of walking Billy the Kid's footsteps, and I love learning about history, and if I could relive it a little bit and see the old sites, I think it makes it even more awesome. And the last museum that I went to, that was the Murphy store. That was like my favorite one to go to because, you know, a lot of people that you hear about, like Murphy and Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid and the two sheriffs that he killed, I think Ollinger was one of them, that all happened there. So it was just so neat to kind of see it all for real, you know, because I've seen Young Guns, I've heard podcasts, I've read about it, and to actually see it in, you know, in its original building was the coolest thing. I highly recommend stopping by that last museum because it is so awesome to see its original floors. They have some original artifacts as well, like they have a safe, because so how it was structured was during Billy the Kid's time, it was a general store, Murphy's General Store on the bottom, and then right next to it was like a parlor, a billiards room, and then to the left were Murphy's offices. And then upstairs, during Pat Garrett's time when he was a sheriff, since they didn't have a proper jailhouse at the time, they just put Billy the Kid upstairs when they caught him. So Pat Garrett had an office up there, and his room was across from the room Billy the Kid was staying at. But since Pat Garrett had to leave for something, they still don't know what exactly he had to leave north for, but he appointed two officers or two sheriffs to watch over Billy the Kid, and Billy the Kid escaped and killed the two sheriffs. As you're going around the building, you'll see signs of like what happened where, so that was really neat. So again, you could continue the Scenic Byway. I think that was the significant thing regarding Billy the Kid. After that, I think it's Fort Stanton, which has something to do with Billy the Kid's history as well. But I'm not sure if Billy the Kid actually went to Fort Stanton. I know other people did that he was associated with. So you can do, you know, this entire Scenic Byway drive, but I don't have time to do it because it's like 80 miles. I wish I had time, but I don't. Maybe I'll come back and do it another day. And you can also go to Fort Sumner to see his burial site or where his tombstone is, because that is where he got caught and killed by Pat Garrett. But I think Lincoln County was the most awesome place to kind of get the whole history of what Billy the Kid was about, and, you know, also the Lincoln County War, the Regulators, the Murphy & Co. I mean, all of that. You'll learn that all there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to watch more of our videos, please subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.